Denise Marlo. You are now listening to the Drunken Monks podcast.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back. What seems to be after a long time. And do not give me a stink eye. You and I know what it is already.
Why are we back after a long time, Marlo?
Why are we back after a long time? All right, folks. I have a small confession to make. We did already record a season finale, but the technician kind of effed up the audio, and while it is to be heard, it's not to the quality that we have become accustomed to on this wonderful podcast. By the way, what's the name of the podcast? Because my name is Marlo Brown.
Denise Fiber.
We are
the Drunken Monks.
Drunken Monks, ladies and gentlemen.
Coming live. Well, not live, but from the Rum Locker.
Rum Locker,
in
Annabay.
Yes.
Annabay. We got to big up the sponsor one last time for the season. And got to say a big thanks to Chris, to Debbie, to Yayo, rest of the Annabay team. If you guys love a little bit of rum, please come help us support the show by helping them to support their rum. And that's about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking over the person. This person, I never would have thought I would have had her on the podcast. Oh my goodness, what to say?
What to say?
What to say, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, this is the queen, the empress, the one, the lady above all, the one that has raised me, the one that made me.
What, you want a new bike, Marlo?
Yeah, because I got a slam all day, every day, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, daughter of the soil of St. Eustatius, world traveler, world citizen, lover of justice and peace, and don't take shit from nobody. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Anica Marsdin.
And a klein detail. Could we maybe say that's your mom?
That's my mom.
Okay.
Thank you for the introduction.
Welcome, Miss Marsden.
Wow, that was an introduction.
That was an introduction, toch?
Marlo Field. That's him.
Yeah,
that's him, right?
Guys, this is me ma. This is the person that decided to keep me around and did her best with me. And if you have any complaints, you're gonna take it up with her. So,
Okay, I'm gonna make an appointment with you after the show.
yeah, toch?
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
The list is long.
Because too, we got a little bit of a short time when it comes to the recording today. I say that we just jump into it, right?
All right.
Right? We're gonna wing it because you didn't know what we were gonna come into today, but I know what she's capable of, so I figure let's try to figure it out just a little bit different. Ma, I gotta ask you. You've been back on the island of Curacao for like a bit, right? You grew up here. You know Curacao as one of a daughter of the soil of here would know it as well, right?
Grew up means what? What is it for you?
I attended the Gloria College in Brivagat. I attended the Prince Bernard School in Monte Carmelo. I attended the M.M. Reumer School that was just the border to Toko Suikertuintje. So I've been around in Curacao for many years, and it's more or less the island that I grew up. I was shaped, formed, and molded in Curacao. So that's
So wait a minute.
my young years in Curacao.
But are you more Stacia or are you more here?
Over the last years, I after studying in Holland, I reside in Stacia, St. Eustatius, but you have the flavor and the tendency of where you were groomed, and that is for me Curacao.
Oh, that's why you're so stylish.
Really, I'm stylish. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
Very much.
And you know who wants a bike, man? What the hell are you doing? Dude, I've been getting it left and right. Like, man, your mom looks so young. Man, your mom this. How old is she? How old is this? Dude, no, dude. I don't need a stepfather. Thank you. Like, you know, like, brothers just coming up to me, yo, you got a number? You got this? Nah, I do not. I honestly do not, for you or for anyone else. Mine's, yeah, she seems
Mature.
Yeah,
I'm a big girl.
you're a big girl.
I'm the girl of 70 years.
Yeah?
of life.
You willing to say that online, man?
Definitely. What do
Okay,
I hide?
nee, dat had ik niet verwacht.
Love. Please. I'm 70 and I'm proud to be 70. Thank you, Father, for bringing me thus far. This is a milestone that you have to celebrate
Celebrate, for sure.
life.
Salute to that.
Celebrate.
Cheers to 70, man.
Definitely 70.
And cheers to 70.
70. Yes, people, 70.
I'm just joining Miss Anica with Panchi Cuba, but I'm also drinking Annabay. So
It's
yes,
with the rum. Spiked with the
if I start talking gibberish, then that's a problem.
But then 70 years old, and you were formed here. So that means that you saw how the island has changed.
Definitely.
Has it changed for the good? Has it changed for the bad?
It's complex.
Feel free to speak, man.
Certain things is positive and certain things is heartbreaking to see what Curacao has turned at this point.
Well, yeah. Let's start with the heartbreaking part.
And feel free.
The heartbreaking part is, for instance, education. Education in Curacao used to be top 10 in the region. Top 10. That was when it was Netherlands and Tills. And why I say that is because I had my education, my formation of education, and my building blocks in Curacao. And it was always a challenge in every classroom among each child that was my peers at a time. We were always striving for the best. Who wants to be the best and who have to be the best? And I was one of them. But happened so I was from Isla Riba back then. And the word that you used to hear every day was English beji stinky. But that.
Wow.
And especially if you were bright in the class and you excelled and you got a higher grade, you used to be bullied and chastised, and you had to fight your way through every day. So every day I had a problem at school because I came from a big family, living in Curacao, growing up with my sister and her family of 4, along with her husband. I decided at the age of 6, I have to be the best that I am to make my parents back home proud because I came from a poor family from the 50s, from the 40s, 50s, 60s. Things was tough, rough.
Grandpa was a farmer, right?
Definitely. And we had to farm.
Yeah.
I know about farming before I came to Curacao. At the age of 6, I could have taken care of stock. I could have weed in the plantation, take care of the produce on the plantation. I could have made bread. I could have cooked. I could have helped them bake in the stone oven at the age of 6.
Yeah.
So things was tough for my generation. And that's the reason why I'm saying Curacao had their toil soon, the challenges likewise. And that's why I'm saying it's sad to see how things has turned because Curacao was the island in the 6 islands that everything was driven to be excellent. Everybody has to strive and climb because no one wanted to be left behind. No matter how poor you were, they had Catholic, they had private school, and they had public school. And the public school was government driven. So government made sure that the level of education was also up to par along with the private schools. I went to all public school after leaving Gloria Collegia. That was a private school, Catholic school. So I ended up in a public school, but that didn't take away from the level and the quality of education that was given at that time.
And you were saying, Miss Anica, that you would always, or everybody would always strive to get ahead or be better. But do you think at that time there was a possibility for upwards mobility for everybody? Didn't matter your background. If you study good, you could come. You would go farther.
At that time, it was you got scholarships, but then it was also in a time that it was you had the elites, you have the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots had to fight about 10 times harder than the haves. So therefore, if you wanted it, you could achieve it by meeting your challenges along with your parents. Because the parents, back then the parents had so much influence in the children, and they strive to make sure the parents used to go to be left themselves undone, but the children had to be up to par. Everybody wanted their child to swim through that rough and challenge water. So the river, you swim upriver with all the challenges, but your parents was always there in your back to push you forward mentally and physically. So therefore, it's sad in my heart nowadays to see that you have so much school dropouts. Back then, you hardly had any school dropout because it was a principle and a pride with respect. You had to go to school, whether it was the same dress you wear every day, you had to go to school. Whether it was your shoes with holes in the sole of your shoe, you had to go to school. Whether your hair wasn't combed properly, you had to brush your hair and make it look good. You had to enter the school. That gate was open for each and every one. So the possibility and the opportunity was given to all. You had to know that you wanted to make it, so you're going to achieve it.
I have a question though. And believe it or not, this one has been the one that's been on my mind like ever since I came up with the idea of bringing you onto the pod. Given your journey so far, and especially that you worked in civil service for so long,
43 years.
43 years,
So
right? Do you think that things have gotten, like, the plight of the woman has gotten stronger within the Antilles? Do you think that opportunities, safety, the medical, numero, saying, voting, has the plight of the woman gotten stronger over the years?
Definitely it has improved, but there's still work to be done.
So, like,
It's still work to be done based on the true meaning of equality and the true meaning of respect of women in managerial position. I was in a managerial position as a civil servant for years, and you had to fight your way through. And I'm talking about in the 90s and the early 2000 years. So we are moving forward, yet still the stigma is there, but the underthought is less. Because if you look around, you have women in positions in private sector and public sector. They have to work harder to their success than the male. You still have that stigma somewhere. It's always there behind the door, lurking. But you, as a woman, you have to realize it, acknowledge it, and close it. Fight against it. Let them know that you are strong in your standing in your position, that you know what it's all about. You too can be the CEO or manager in whatever managerial position, you can also be the minister. Because it tends to have a flavor that women cannot make decision. But the best minds to make decisions are women.
Down with the patriarchy.
We're not doing that today.
Listen to your mother, Marlo.
Women are multitask creatures. Women can look at a situation and women can detect 8 points that to be worked on in a blitz. She's gonna find the other 2 out of the 10. But from one shot, she's gonna see 8 and she's gonna pinpoint and she's gonna prioritize and she's gonna work systematically and get the job done in no time. Male gonna look at it from a other perspective because they're gonna look at it. They're gonna look at financial. They're gonna look at the period. They're gonna take the timing, maybe the season. A female is like mother hen, know how to clock and find all her checks in the split second of a hurricane. And she know exactly where the spot is for safety. So while everybody running up and down, Mother Hen already have herself figured out with her checks and she have them all in a bundle under her 2 wings. Now tell me if that is not the power
Of a woman?
of a woman.
Tell her, Marlo, tell her.
No, it's not about telling. I have a question since I realize which way the stream
Well,
is going.
you pushed this stream this way. Okay.
I realize which way that the stream is going. I have an interesting question to pose to the both of y'all, and it's something that at least anecdotally that I bumped upon like over the years, right? When it comes to civil service, right? Don't know about Curacao, but I can definitely name St. Martin and Stacia in that. It's fair to say that it's majority women.
Yeah.
The majority of the civil service corps is majority women.
Mm-hmm.
So then I have a question. How is it to say that it's still a boys' game if it's majority women that are doing the running of the country?
It's majority of women because in Stacia, it started in the years of 1960s. You had a Christine Flanders, you had a Miriam Schmidt, who were, you can say, the Margaret Thatchers of Stacia. And there is where they started. They understood the plight, they understood the challenges, and they also came up with a strategic plan how to cut down that hill. And bit by bit, they cut down that hill. I was a young girl in 1972 when I returned back home. I completed my studies and immediately I sniffed out the power of Christine Flanders and Miriam Smith, and I wanted to get a taste of that Kool-Aid that they were drinking. And I found myself in their company. And based on their tutoring and their collective drive to build, especially the female positions in Stacia, I learned from them. And then you of yourself as a woman, you have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know your strength. And you have to believe in yourself. And you have to have a goal to push yourself to a certain level that you want to achieve within a period of time. And therefore, you have to work hard at it as a woman. And that's what I did. Okay. And that's the reason why you see most of the politicians and most of the positions held in Stacia Today, are female, smarting likewise. Why? Because Christine Flanders, Miriam Smith has really paved the road for us. And I came in the groove with them. I learned from them and I embraced the mantle. Because what I did when I came in 1972, I joined political parties. I brought the union into station to make each and every civil servant aware of their rights and their responsibility. I also try as much as possible to bring them up to speed with all the legal laws a civil servant should know from the LMA because they were unaware that there was even an LMA. And based
LMA is the legislation for civil servants. It has the laws, the rules and regulations for civil servants.
back then before 10, that was actually the Bible for each civil servant. So therefore, all those I expose them to the different legalities and the different road and station where they have to move in which direction to be able to move forward with whatever they wanted to achieve, because they were ignorant to the fact. It was like politicians just have them there for a vote and promises and walking over them. And I couldn't swallow that.
Marlo, just to react, even just also,
Right.
Because you said, yeah, women majority in government and everything, but in Curacao, the situation is a bit different, I think, because we're
Hence me giving the caveat.
bigger. Like a larger population, even though government is the majority, civil servants are women in leadership, it's still men who hold the most positions and the highest positions. I was just looking at my phone just to count how many female members of parliament we have. Curacao parliament has 21 seats, of which 6 are women. The government at this moment is... Normally is 9 ministries, is eigenlijk 8 ministers. At this moment, I think there are 6 ministers, of which 1 is a woman. If you look at SG, Secretaris-Generaal, so the head of the ministries, if you look at a lot of the directors of departments, you're going to see that most are men. So to me, it's really puzzling if you're going to have the majority of your working population is women. The majority of the students at the university are women. Women dominate everywhere except in most leadership positions. If you're going to look at Raad van Commissarissen and board of directors of a lot of private companies as well. Go look at the banks, go look at big firms, you're going to see that majority are men. And if women are in there, and not to speak ill of the women, because I know they're very capable, and like your mother said, women have to work 10 times as hard. So the women who are in great positions deserve to be there. I mean, they're capable, but I think often the boys' networks just think, let me just put a woman so that will look good for the picture and nobody can say nothing. We have a woman, but even though she's very capable, I'm not sure how valued she is for her capabilities. And instead of, yes, check, we have a woman or we have 2 women. So I agree, we still have a long way to go.
Yes, we do.
Okay. This is a good place so that we can get a re-up, take a breather, let Ma get relaxed. Let me get
I think
relaxed.
Ma is quite relaxed if you ask me.
There you go. Nah, but we could take a little moment and then we are going to pay some bills and then we will be
Right back.
right back.
Let's make it clap.
I'm gonna be glad for the break. Just for the break from that. I'm gonna be glad for the break. Every episode. Unbelievable. Guys, we're back. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever that you at. Ma, say hi to the people because I'm
Bonsoir tout le monde.
pretty sure that a couple of our watchers are gonna like at me. Boy, I see him on the
Bonsoir tout le monde.
There you go. Nah, but yeah, guys. I found even though I thought it was in hostile territory, I found the conversation of the last segment to be at least interesting and going someplace. But
I take offense to the hostile territory thing, maar okay, ga maar door.
what?
It was not hostile. We were just explaining things.
Yeah, toch?
Facts is facts.
Facts
You
is
have to
facts.
speak. Listen, if you accept the facts,
I do.
you can work at whatever weaknesses or whatever is there to be remedied. But you have to accept the facts.
There you go. Here's a fact that I'd like to examine, or here's a potential fact that I'd like to examine. Denise, you had mentioned majority of the civil service corps at the very least. We're not going to go into private, but we can take a good look at the civil service corps. Over the years, be it Nederlandse Antillen, be it now, majority has always been women in administrative roles, secretarial roles, even though that's not quite the thing that you want to get to. But as you said, the majority of the positions of power, the ministers, the ones that were voted in, the ones that were elected, that type of thing always tends to land on a man. I would ask a question then. How in all the years that we've had examples of this and experimentations of this, of being able to come from nothing technically or hypothetically and being able to rise through the ranks, how do you get sway and influence and power within the Antilles? What's the pathway to do that in you guys' eye? If you have an answer. If you don't, then I'd like to pop out something.
I waiting for the wisdom here.
How to get
Influence. Sway.
sway into the power.
Yeah. To make change. All towards the night towards making change. Because the one thing we all agree on, how it is right now, is not good. So.
First of all, personally, I looked at certain things, and also in the early 90s, we had a group of women. We had looked at the poverty line in Statia, and also we looked at what is actually keeping us back. And one of the things that we came up with is that we have it on all the islands. We do not assess what we have to know what we need to get what we want and how to work at it. We do not do that.
So what you're saying is knowledge then? Knowledge and information.
We do not assess. And I'm talking about generally. I'm talking about assessment of your assets, assessment of your liabilities. When you do that, then you can know how to move forward. Because, for instance, we have students that go abroad to study in different professions. Do we need what is being paid for, or do we want, or can we work at building a nation with what is being paid for?
So,
and then we're going to get the strength and the power to know where we're going, what we have, and how we're going to get there. Because as Denise said, she gave a rundown of the women in the different sectors in Curacao. University, How much percentage?
Now I want to say 85 maybe. I don't have a specific number, but
But we have the
overgrote
majority.
meerderheid, zie.
Meerderheid, majority. Good. Right there as an assessment. Good. Let's say we have 80%. What are the 80% studying? Break it down. Good. What do we need? What is the need to build a stronger Curacao?
Ghost of Annabay.
The ghost of Annabay has struck again.
What do we need to build a stronger Curacao? What do we need to build a stronger Stacia? What do we need to build a stronger Sabre? What do we need to build a stronger Bonaire, Aruba, St. Martin, Edom, Ditto? That is what I'm talking about. And we assessed that in the early 90s only by running a campaign of the poverty line in Stacia back then. And that's where we realized that we lacking so much in Stacia, and we started to work at it, because the different services you have in Curacao, we never had in Stacia, because for everything we had to come to Curacao for, or go to St. Martin. So we didn't have, it was like an empty eggshell. You had an eggshell, but in the egg itself, there was a hollow. Nothing was there for Stacia. So we had to build to get what we need. Today, you have a situation where mental health is brought to the forefront. In every aspect, in every charla, you hear mental health, mental health. We didn't have that back home. So what we did, we assessed that at that time. And for mental health, we had to fly in the patient or whatever to Curacao. That was costly. And because it was costly, there was no budget. Because the Antilles was short of a budget, federal level and locally. So therefore, that need was left on a back burner. And it was left on a back burner so long. Today, after 13 years of new status of the islands, we are faced with the challenges that was not addressed, not assessed from back then. So that's where I'm coming from, the assessment, and to know your strength, and to know how to build and to move forward. But assessment was always left out, and it is still being left out today.
All right, and to add to that, because I agree 100%, and indeed, you need to assess to see where your strengths are, mobilize your resources towards those things that are lacking. Yes, I agree. But I also think we need to work on mentality. And I think maybe with women, it's not so clear, but let me explain what I mean. If you look in the case of Curacao, if we're going to have a business or a government, it could be anything. There is a job opening and Black Curaçaoian applies, who has 20 years of experience in the field, has 2 master titles, has a PhD, punt. And you got a young class come in fresh off the boat from Holland, fresh off the plane from Holland, studied something adjacent to the field, has maybe 2-3 years of experience. A lot of the times, people would prefer the young class, case whoever, just because he speaks Dutch very nicely. But you have your local person with way more capability, way more knowledge, and the person doesn't get the same chance, or not a fair chance. And I think it's not, now I took a very extreme example, and not to say anything about Dutch people or whatever, but I think oftentimes, aside from the assessment, you can assess everything and we know what is lacking and we know who has the capabilities. You also need to work on, how do we view people? How do we view women? Are the women, do we see them as emotional, or are they unreliable because once the kid gets sick, they also have to stay home? Or what are we thinking? Because that also influences, I find, who gets a chance So I think you have to work on what is lacking, but also how do we view de invulling daarvan.
So, one word you said, Lord help me, I'm using the mental health speak, triggered me. Gets a chance. Gets a chance. Right? Toevallig, my mother and I, she came with me. Shout out to Andy. She came with me this morning when I got all this done. You know, I got a haircut, and my mother, like, I'm in the chair, and my mom's with me, and give us half a chance. We talk about politics, and for her about how it used to be and whatnot, and so. And one of the things that was interesting in that conversation was the power of the Pueblo leader. So she was talking a lot about Papa Godet, for example. She was talking a lot about, like, for me, I had kind of equated a little bit to Herman Wheels in the caravan here. Good or bad, but Claude Watty was a Pueblo leader, like, as well, right? These people got power not because they were elite. These people, of the majority.
Claude Watty?
Claude, okay. Well, then let's take Claude, like, out of the thing. But then Papa Godet was not an elite.
No.
He got it grassroots. Like he got that sway and influence and whatever. And whatever he did with it, if you agree with it or not, but to deny that he had power and sway and like influence is to tell a lie. I am curious about that part. You don't, like, if you let people give you power, it'll never come. Like, how do you amass enough influence to be able to get, like, again, like something like what like Papa Godet did, good or bad, but to get enough people behind your cause or behind your thing or whatnot.
Well, Papa Godet is also not, well, okay, fine. If we're going to look at Papa Godet and maybe how Mew wins, but Papa Godet did, and niet alleen, not alone. He had his compañeros.
Yes.
It was basically organize a revolution.
Comrades.
Comrades is probably a better word.
Comrades.
It's what you say. Okay, so if you wait to get it, you're not gonna get it. But if you take it, you really have to be drastic.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if there's always time, space to be that drastic.
So, because that was one of the conclusions I came to out of that conversation. You don't really see leaders like that no more. And part of that is what I was thinking as like,
because they get murdered. Hashtag Helming Wheels.
Yeah, so we saw that too. Like Papa Godet got a shot too, like apparently as well. But what it is like there's no time, space, or energy to be able to do that no more.
Oh, wacht even. No, I don't agree that you don't have leaders like that no more. Because if you look, for example, het is misschien een beetje anders. But if you look at the Curacao current Prime Minister, Pic Pisas.
We were talking about that.
He is from Pueblo.
But we were talking about that. But he don't. I'll say the thing to protect everyone involved. He don't look to me like he don't taste like real Coke. He tastes like RC Cola.
Yes, yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's close, but it ain't the thing. It's not the exact thing. He definitely preens as such. He definitely portrays as such. He definitely is in the right place at the right time for a lot of things as such. And somebody would have to inform me or like educate me. Where's the grassroots? Where's the head down with the people? Where's the there was a moment like in the Malcolm X, it's a movie that I loved, where Brother Malcolm he was rising to the zenith of his powers, right? And a brother got badly beaten by the cops, and they were held, and nobody could get to him and whatnot. And so, Brother Malcolm just got up, started walking. Everybody marched behind him, and he just stood up in front of the police. And his brothers, the Nation of Islam, was like a barrier to the sea of discontent of all the black people that were there and near riot and whatnot. The police had to come out. They had to see him. They had to talk to him. And in talking to him, it's like, yo, this can go any way you want, but I will see the brother that you guys had maltrated. I will see this person. So said, so done. And the cops saw what was going on. And no matter what happened, if they don't acquiesce, this is the power of what the Malcolm X had, they were going to have a problem. In the movie, of course, this was all kind of romanticized, a big moment or whatever. But he was able to disperse the crowd, go see him, get him to like a hospital, all of that. I don't see Pic Pisas doing that. I do not see Pic Pisas having like just raise a fist to just do that, and then everybody just disperses. I don't see Pick doing that, bro. And I can't tell you what he needs to do to get that, but I don't see him doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Oh boy, here we go.
I will have to make a comment on that.
Go right ahead.
Due to the fact that politicians of the past to the politicians present
Mm-hmm.
are different generations.
Okay.
The grassroots also is not the grassroots but of then. The grassroots of now, presently, have to stand for what they believe. That's how you get a politician to move in line with the grassroots.
So you're looking for a certain amount of authenticity from now, like you
The
are missing.
grassroots we have today is like they are scattered. It's like you have a lawn, and when you look at the lawn, you're gonna see brown patches in between that lawn. The lawn is not one vector of massive green. And that's the reason why we are where we are today with politics. There will be politicians who mean well and they are willing to do well. But the stimulation comes from the grassroots. The pressiegroepen makes it so influential because the pressiegroepen get their stimulation from the grassroots. I don't feel and I don't see pressiegroepen. It's lacking. And at the end of the pressiegroep, they have the politician. Because the waves comes from the grassroots to the pressiegroep and it bores through to the politician. That's why you had a Wati, how Wati operated in St. Martin. Wati was one of the elite, you could say, the elite family Watis. But Wati was a man, he drove in a broken down Volkswagen. Wati never had an office. His office was a crate, a potato crate under a tree. His secretary was in the office.
Symbolism. You laugh.
His office was in his office. He used to give you a little note. You go to Wati, you sit down under the tree, he listen to your demise, he tell you, listen, pass by me tomorrow. He can come out a little scribble paper, he gonna check out the situation, he gave a note, he tell you go to Miss Ann up in his office. And you go to Miss Ann gonna sit you down and she gonna fix whatever she gotta fix and go through the process and you get where you have to get. That was because Wati had a pressiegroep on Wati back. And Wati pressiegroep was the La Vegas and the different other families that was also connected to the grassroots. So when the grassroots squeal, when the grassroots bedbug bite the pressiegroep squeal in Wati air. So that we are missing today in politics. And that's the reason why you have the politicians in parliament and every man, if you listen to them, they're coming with their own opinions. But the opinions are not synchronizing. They're not synchronizing. And St. Martin also is going through a time of political upheaval too, because government used to fall one after the next in St. Martin after 10-10-10. because you don't have that cohesion. Grassroots is the massa, the power of the people. That's another thing. The pressing group don't feed back to the masses and tell them you are the government, because it is that ranking is missing. They're missing the stations, and when you have a station and a train take off from from headquarters, you're gonna they have a station stop. You're gonna run bypass you, right? That's what happened. There's no pressing group nowhere. The grassroots are scattered, and the politicians are just there knocking to your door around election, and then you're gonna get a cluster, a gather, because it sounds popular, they whisper in your ear, and you feel that's good because you are not fed with the right information to think and to comprehend
And to assess.
Assess and to make your own decision, a sound decision as to that can work. If we move that direction, is it going to work for the people? Because the island is the people. The government is the people. And if the politician can't come with an idea to work for the people, what are we going to have? You're going to have turmoil.
Which we
You're going to have a potpourri where all sense could be all over, and who could stand the sense could survive, and who can't will succumb.
There you go.
And that's where we may be lacking.
See, and yeah, we need to go.
I'll give you the closing word because we got schedules to keep apparently. So
Let's see. No, but before Miss Anica started talking, I was thinking the same thing, but what came to mind to me was unity. But it's basically
about
what you laid out. I was thinking at this moment, in the grassroots, there is no unity. There's no common goal. There is maybe a goal, but very scattered. So
very nebulous, by the way.
So you cannot have a leader to represent you, because the you is 80 miljoen dingen.
Yeah.
If you have one goal, you can advocate for the goal, and that's basically what you were explaining. And I had to think about two things. First, I was thinking about Sylvana Simons in Holland. It started with the Zwarte Piet. Or that was one of the major things. It was the Zwarte Piet demonstrations. You had large groups of people who were saying we cannot celebrate Sinterklaas as we know it. It has to change, or Zwarte Piet has to go, or it has to change, whatever. Right. They were organizing, and that's how a person as Sylvana Simons could gain power, because she had a block behind her. Then she went into the Kamer van Amsterdam, you call it gemeenteraad van Amsterdam. And then she was doing her work, of course, other things behalve Zwarte Piet, but that was zeg maar the foundation and the energy that kept her going. She felt she had enough support, and she went to local national politics. Right. She went to the Tweede Kamer. Yeah.
No. Finish it, but I want to highlight that path as a thing. So
she went to the Tweede Kamer, and then you're gonna see. It's gonna start to crumble.
Right.
Want the majority of Holland is not necessarily like anti-Zwarte Piet. The majority of Holland does not necessarily care about what they term them black issues. Mm-hmm. So when she was on a smaller scale, she could fight her battles. Maar now, when you're on a bigger scale, moet je ook naar andere dingen gaan kijken. En in Holland, I think... not per se Sylvana Simons, but the black activists, like we call them like that, were making a lot of the people uncomfortable. Sylvana was for a lot of people the face of that. Yeah. And helaas, I think she had to lose power because nog een te grote groep was uncomfortable. Yeah. And she didn't have a big enough block behind of her, because the same thing.
They couldn't. Like, you had to go through her, like, at that point. So she had to back off a bit because she didn't have the juice to be able to demand a conversation about this.
She didn't have the titu. bites.
Exactly.
I don't want to say that. I think she got a lot of tegenwerking and a lot of pressure that we cannot imagine. And
Seguro.
the group that was behind her was, if you compare it to the rest of the population, was just too small. Because if you're thinking about, example, the if you want to call it revolution of 69 in Curaçao, 30 de Maio, it was also a massa. But when the leaders under Andre Papagodat came to, let's say, Willemstad, came to political center of the Netherlands Antilles, there was zo'n grote groep behind them that the establishment had to listen and had to give in to the demands. And with Silvana, that was not the case. When she reached the political center, she didn't have those masses to overrun. Overrun is maybe not a good word, but to how it fussed. So I think it has to do with unity and the power of the masses. And if you don't have the masses behind of you for whatever reason, it's going to be very hard to break that cycle.
Yeah. I will tie both of y'all's statements together, and it comes in this, and this is for me where me personally, I get heartbroken with modern politics, right? There's another difference between the politicians of old and the politicians of now. And that goes to you could change the word politician, you can change that into investor, you can change that into businessman, you can change that into sex worker, numero, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was a point in time when het doen een laten van een ding, or het doen een laten van een industrie, of weet ik veel, became common knowledge. So, bijvoorbeeld, you named the thing where Sylvanus was able to, okay, Zwarte Piet, local politics, national politics. That was the path, right? Now everybody knows that. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to politics, are willing to just jump for a moment, if that makes any sense, or work towards a goal just to use it as a springboard into the other thing. They don't have the authenticity of the thing that they're dealing with, which what my mother was talking about as well. Is not that you're with the pressiegroep, is that you're using the pressiegroep or the issue of the day to get to a particular spot, and then from there you pivot and you maybe even leave them behind to get to bigger fish, as it were. But it's all in service of what your own ambitions are, whatever they may be. It's not the pueblo, like at that point. It's not civil service at that point. It is not serving the country or building the country, like at that point. It is for self. And for me, I'm a weird optimist, because I feel like you can be selfish and serve pueblo at the same time. Like, I feel like that can happen as long as it aligns, and as long as you see van helping the pueblo is helping me. It's this done, right? But to have that individual, or to have that thought, that mentality, that thought process, that is a unicorn, man. That is echt a unicorn to find these days. A lot of people now know how the dance go, as my mom would say. They know that, hey, if I do this, if I start a sports team and I get really popular with a sports team and I get enough youth behind me or whatnot, I have a youth vote, I have a youth block, and then all of a sudden, if I do things right, if I parlay it just right, if I advertise just right, if I campaign just right, I might even get a seat. Okay, I got a seat. Okay, now I'm in the inner circle. I don't bother with the sports team no more. I'm in the inner circle, like, look at the politics. If I parlay it just right, if I do it just right, I can maybe hold the thing hostage and promise to turn on the government if we're in the coalition that's very thin or whatnot and so. Okay, now I'm in the big boy table. Now I'm at the big boy table was the next step and the next step. And I think that too many people are too aware of how that dance goes. Even the local man nowadays, like the regular young Pete Schmidt, whatever you want to call him, they understand that fact. And because of that, everybody doesn't have faith in politics anymore. They don't have faith in, we can have a hero of the pueblo. We can have a this or that, because they're always looking at the hero. What's your next step? What's your next move? They're looking at him kind of shady. Like, they don't believe in him no more. Or her, sorry. And for me, that is where, if you want to change a thing, that's what needs to change first, in my view. You need to pull away from, what's the next step? What's the strategy? What's the this? What's the that? Just do the thing right. Just do what we're here for to do. Change the world in this way For now, get it right, get the people, make the world a better place for that one thing. And then you see from there, see if you have the stamina to go ahead or whatnot. Try not to plan a career from like 20. I've been going on, you've been going on, she's been going on, we've been going on, y'all. Shall we re-up Denise?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
And yeah, guys, thank you for hanging in. We will be
right back. We're back?
I think we're back.
Okay. No stay.
No stay, sim.
Ribaje. Trapa.
Danger.
Klaba.
Klaba. Oh, no more cosa pa me. From the Rum Locker, Annabay in Punda. Guys, enjoy, but drink responsibly.
Of course.
En laten we meteen doorgaan.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 10-10-10. Well, on 10-10. And that is 13 years ago already.
Jesus, man.
The Netherlands Antilles fell apart. The islands of Curacao.
Dissolved would be the more diplomatic.
Potato.
Was dissolved.
Ceased to exist.
They went. It was a crystal glass, and it was dropped, and it dropped into pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Anyway,
I don't know where I get my chat from. But anyway.
So as everybody knows, you had Curacao and Sint Maarten with some fictive autonomous countries, fictieve autonome landen, I would say.
Fictional is what you
Fictional? Oh yeah, fictional.
Fictional, there you go.
And then you had the Bes, Bonaire, Sint Eustatius en Seba, who are now een bijzondere gemeente. Ook een fictieve bijzondere gemeente, if you ask me, of the Netherlands. So I was thinking, let's talk about the constitutional change or where we are right now. But now when I'm doing this introduction, I'm already getting like een beetje moedeloos. And I'm thinking, waar gaan we het precies over hebben?
No, you know what it is?
See?
Because this is one of the things where I find that there's a disconnect. Where when you're talking about anything civil, governmental, political or whatnot, so right, you always have the high-minded people like yourself and me. Like, we tend to talk about it in a high-minded way, right?
Mm-hmm.
What has 10-10-10 done for the average man? Plain and simple. Just how has regular life changed? And I think you and I have enough for memory to be able to add to that conversation. Obviously, Mom can talk about it, but we can talk about it too as to how life has changed before and after 10-10-10. Can we talk about that? Just regular life.
I don't know. We can talk about it, but I don't know if I know.
Okay, so then let me start with one with you. You used to work in St. Martin, right?
Yes.
Was that before or after 10-10-10?
After my whole career. My career started at 10-10-10. I went into service in St. Martin September 1st. Mm-hmm. This was like a month, and then it was 10-10-10.
Okay. What did you have to do to go to work in St. Martin right before that? Did you need permits? Did you need a visa? Did you need a zeggenschap? Did you need what were the paperwork that you needed to
nothing. But then I see where you're getting at. But I think that people born like Antillian, dus eigenlijk people from Bovenwinde, Bonaire and Curaçao before 2010, the Netherlands Antilles law applies to them, and people in Aruba born before 86, Netherlands Antilles law apply to them, though they don't have to do anything. If you're born after 10, yeah, then we're talking about a lot of paperwork.
But we are talking about after 10, and
yeah, but you said if you go to work. So for the people that time, it didn't matter. For the people born after the date,
right?
Yeah.
But the work is just one aspect of it. You now need visas. You now need visas to be able to write in, write out. You now
Not
need
visas, Maria.
But you understand what I'm saying? Like, there has been an extra barrier to entry for all things that has been applied.
You cannot move freely among
you cannot move freely among all of the islands like anymore.
Yeah, not as freely. No.
And for me, for the small man, because again, I have the obelisk, the tower here, right?
Slime.
Sigur, because I want a bike. My mother's a perfect example of why that's bullshit. She born in Statia, raised here, had a couple of years in Aruba. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Went to
Holland, came back. She's not a station alone. She's not a Cursonian alone. And I guarantee you swing a dead cat, you're going to hear, and it doesn't matter the age, you're going to hear those stories. Oh, my uncle was from Aruba, but I was raised in Statia, but my mother from Saba and Kiki and whatnot. That freedom of exchange was real important to the identity, even though you had the rivalries, even though you had the bullshit, even though you had the weirdness. Now there's a barrier to entry where if I fall in love tomorrow and I want to go someplace or do something, I can't even like coming here for me was just, like I got it done, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy as it used to be. You just used to jump on a flight, you come here, you figure it out, and boom, you're gone. That's changed. That has changed. That on a
travel under your ID. I am happy to know that they have revisited some of the laws.
Yeah.
That you can now travel between the islands on your ID again. And that was just a commonality back then within the islands. Because a common goal, you could have jumped on each island in just an ID.
Right.
So I am happy to know that they are wising up. They are revisiting the period that we are now in compared to what we had because they are reversing certain things. And I'm happy about that.
That same thing, I can also name another thing, but it's Statia and Saba specific because of the breakdown of the commonality of being able to go travel. Travel has gotten way more expensive, but not just because of global forces and whatnot, but just you have to pay now taxes a little bit crazier. We used to pay like little to no tax to leave from the airport to go to that airport. Why? Because that's how
I think, yeah, but I think, sowieso on the bovenwind, I think you would pay little to no tax. And that changed.
Yeah, but that no.
In general,
that's another one too, like as well, and that's another question of good or bad because, like at least for Statia and Mark, feel free to correct me, and I know that you will. For a long time, it wasn't necessarily malice. They had a couple, but you had a lot of business men that were important to the community. Didn't pay taxes for a long time for a lot of things, man. Didn't pay taxes for a long time for a lot of things. Different other things, like obey numarop or land tax or numarop, right? For the properties that they might have owned. I won't tear them all with one brush and say, oh, they were malicious and they were trying to avoid. Certain people didn't even know or were not informed as properly as they might have been, right? And
it's correct.
And when 10 came in and Holland started to quote unquote brisk up the whole thing and make sure that everything was standing straight or whatnot, as representative now that you're part of the kingdom proper, right? A lot of stuff came down with like a thunder shower. It was like everybody got wet immediately. Oh, you owe 20,000. Oh, you owe 10,000. And if you don't pay it within this amount of time, you are getting your stuff repossessed and this and that and whatnot. And again, I'm not trying to excuse anyone that were genuinely avoiding those taxes, but there were folks that got hit a little too hard and be like, give them a regeling. Get them something, you know what I mean? And whose livelihoods who other people were dependent upon as well, by the way, where it had a trickle down effect. It was like a business leader, fine, but 5 to 20 employees where if that business goes, there's no other recourse. There's no other thing that you can say from, oh, I'll just get another job by another place. There is no other place. It's 3,000 people. Yeah. And Seba had that, and we had that too.
Right.
Banking right now is a pain in the ass. Banking right now is a pain in the ass. Love you, babe. Love you to death. But banking right now is a pain in the ass, right? We have one bank at home. One bank. We had two at one point. Even that became a little bit too much red tape to be able to go navigate through and whatnot. They decided, you know what, fuck it. We're gone. Right? Yeah. So we got one that was left, and our banking was so dependent upon outside forces that when the upheaval came and now other things came with it, oh Lord, there are people right now that can't bank properly, safely, how they want in Statia, and indirectly because of 10-10-10.
That's a fact.
Real talk. A next one that I could put to you right now. God bless. It was this month or last month, but God bless, they finally got a notary back in Statia.
Last month.
God bless. God bless. What used to happen?
After so many years.
What used to happen? Until before like 10-10-10, with cheap travel, jump a plane, go to St. Martin, do your earthness, so wait to feel, hey, my grandfather dead, I got a land, we do all of these deeds and one and so. We had all the notaries known by name to us. Yeah. Because we knew them in St. Martin.
I can add to that.
All of that happened is like, oh shit, we don't have a notary no more. Like, what the fuck?
We didn't have to go to St. Martin if you didn't want to go to St. Martin because the notary at that time used to come to Statia on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
Because of cheap travel.
But they had so much clients, so we send over for 2 days and you do the business and that was it. But then after then it came to a point where the rules of St. Martin does not apply for Statia.
Yeah, correct.
So it couldn't be regulated. So Statia and Seba had no notary.
For a long time.
See, and I think
because they had to do an assessment and
no, but this I think Holland and also Curacao, but Holland more cannot even imagine how small the islands are. They can imagine, but they cannot imagine what it means.
It's not here.
To have a community of 3,000 people and needing everything for those 3,000 people. In Holland, you have I don't know if it's a dorpje or a super tiny gemeente. You don't need to have everything because you can go to the next gemeente. If you don't have a hospitals, no problem, because in the next gemeente, which is not too far, you have that. Dus I think minder probably, but I think civil servants because now I'm talking specifically for the best, and those, coincidentally or not, are the smallest islands, smallest populations. I think Den Haag was really blind, really gewoon ignorant of the situation. Dus a lot of things were not regulated properly. And in the time of the Netherlands Antilles, of course, it was also not well because Curaçao felt that Curaçao was pan de Dios and everything was here and whatever. But still,
God's bread.
Yeah, that's what we say. That so the best thing.
Pan de Dios, natural.
But I think because you still had politicians from the island on the federal level,
right?
They were trying to do what they could. I mean, I still know Curaçao was hogging all the money and doing all kind of thing, but you still had something, and you could come here, you could make a noise. They would send whatever you need. Right. And the fact that you said that the laws were equal, dus dat maakt het allemaal makkelijker. Netherlands Antilles is gone, so there is no, zeg maar, tussenstation here. There's nobody here that could act as an intermediary. And then you have these people in The Hague who know nothing, and they're gonna arrange things gewoon even like this.
Civil servants, not even a ministry. Yeah. Civil servants working in a ministry sit down behind their desk. And they write a paper to decide for Statia. Some of them doesn't even know where Statia
is on the map.
True that.
They can't even point it out.
I knew, sorry to cut you across, of somebody who was offered a job in Statia, and they asked, can I then live in Bonaire? So they thought Bonaire was more interesting. So they wanted to live in Bonaire and work in Statia. And I was like, there is a whole sea between Bonaire and Statia. It's not going to work. You cannot work unless you travel weekends to Bonaire, but you cannot commute daily. Like gewoon that level of ignorance eigenlijk.
Yeah. No, but okay, but then that listen, in a weird, cynical, silver lining in a dark cloud type of way, I am like, again, Schadenfreude is one of my favorite words.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit of good Schadenfreude where that is concerned because of 10-10-10 and because of all the things that the Dutch want to clean up and get right and wanted to get their hands into and whatnot. They had to learn about this shit.
Mm.
They had to learn about this shit. I could remember, on God, there were some RCN people. Like, RCN is for the kingdom, like back home. Like, there's a kingdom government and there's like our
Rijksdienst Caribisch Nederland.
Yeah,
right. So RCN,
that's federal.
yes, that replaced the federal within the Antilles for us. What happened? What had happened was that couple of them suckers had to go through some hurricane kind of preparations. Couple of them suckers had to go through some hurricane preparations. Like when I was living in Statia, they had to go through hurricane preparations, and it was mind-boggling to them. It was, maar waarom moeten we dit allemaal doen? Dat weet ik veel. Because when the hurricane come, you don't know where it's gonna go, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
You gotta eat crackers,
oats,
sardines,
cornflakes, milk. But shout outs to the PM. Sylvania Jacobs, man. Yo, but anyway, no, but what it is, like, but just the eye-opening fact of what the reality is of hurricane prep. And you do this prep and it doesn't always come, and maybe it shifts and whatnot. And like of the 5 that I spoke to, 2 of them were bright enough on, we got away. But 3 of them were complaining, but like, and I
sounds like Cursulinians to me.
No, but dude, but for real, it was like, you don't understand what you just missed, huh? Like, you don't really get why this was necessary, huh? You don't really get like, and a part of me was like praying that, I want you to be caught in one just to be safe, but I want you to be caught in one. Like, seriously see what is like all this hoopla is about. And that for me, like all of that, being able to get to know, we do not get fun knuffelen without 10-10-10. We don't. And now we get a more softer approach and a more inclusive approach and a more, we don't get the slavery apology without 10-10-10, I feel like, either. Because a lot of
don't know.
Softened, no, for me at least, like how I see it, everything is kind of linked, right? Without 10-10-10, without a closer kind of relationship with the islands and everything else, and at least, having to give lip service to, and beluisteren naar jullie en weet ik veel, you don't get the softer ground for Zwarte Piet and everything else to come up and to make a splash where everything comes together as one and, shit, we were wrong. I don't think you get that moment without that. I don't think you get, like they might they didn't have to apologize to us. They just had to apologize to, and we're sorry for slavery. And here is your deal, doesn't suit them, and here's your deal. No, they specifically said, we're going to come down here. We are going to interact with the political apparatus here and with all the islands and one. And so you don't get that moment without 10-10-10, like either, like is what I'm feeling. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, and I'd like to hear Mother's thoughts about this too, like as well.
Well, 10-10-10 was a blitz. It wasn't thought out properly.
There you go.
It was not, it was on a drawing board, but they didn't fill in all the blanks. And they had too much blank. They had 80% blank and 20% of theory. And that is the problem. That's why things ended up how it turned out to be, because there were a rush to reach to that station, and the train was not well equipped.
Is that here or is that Nederland or is that both?
Everywhere.
On both ends. But the scepter was in Nederland's hand. So it doesn't matter to Nederland whether it was worked out or not. Because they have the blackboard or the whiteboard or whatever you want to call name it, and they have the scepter in their hand. So they can swing it left and they can swing it right, or they can duck or they can drag. So whatever they put there goes. And that's what we are experiencing today. Because the politicians back then did not do the homework. They hear this was coming through the pipeline. They didn't prepare themselves. They didn't get together and form a fist. They didn't have think tanks thinking, because one head can't think alone. You need heads to think in certain situation. That was not done. So therefore, the train was like a runaway train. And every station it passed, Curacao, St. Martin, Bonaire, station in Sabre, was on the perron on them. And the train was passing. You only see the train passing, your head going so whoosh, whoosh. And that's what happened with 10-10-10. That's why to the 13 years after, there's no strategy. There's always a change of the goalposts, because there was never a worked out plan, pinpointing and anchored and decide and sealed and delivered and agreed upon by all. So therefore, whatever the train brings along and it drop off to your station, you have to accept.
Yeah, you have to take. I agree with 99% of them, but I got to push back on one thing. You said that they were not able, like the politicians before 10-10-10 locally were not able to make a fist to come together and to hold a head and whatnot. So that's how the thing was designed. 10-10-10, by its very definition, was an expression of that.
You know what?
Like it was, the fist was the Antilles, but for whatever reason, the grievances that were inter-island, that were played upon by leaders and were fluffed up by the media and whatever that you want to say, and by anecdotes of people and whatnot.
Egos.
By egos especially.
Egos.
Right? The whole point was division. Let me not forget history for 2 seconds. Sir Martin was extremely mad at Curacao for supposedly taking the majority of the opbrengsten that Sir Martin had in revenue from taxes for his tourism. For their tourism was really booming at that point.
Yeah.
And their thing was almost like the American kind of revolution thing, was all this taxation but no kind of representation, plus you going with the head hog. Like, what is this? And on top of that, anything that funnels through the federal, Curacao takes his grand share, its lion's share first, and divvies out the crumbs or the dregs or whatever.
Yeah, but it wasn't Curacao fault, you know.
I know, ma'am.
The statute was always, listen, the statute was always Curacao N.
Yeah.
Curacao N. So whenever they send any fund to the Netherlands Antilles, the first share went to Curacao. The balance went to N. Curacao get the next share out of that N.
There you go.
And that is where I'm saying again, the politicians should do homework, because they had to study that sector in the statuten. Curacao en haar
Horigen.
Okay? Curacao en. When I
feel like I'm in a college course here right now.
when I started to really look at as a civil servant, I went in 72. The first thing I asked them, where are the laws of the land? Everybody look at me and they want to know if she gotta be crazy. I said, no, I am a civil servant. The word civil have a meaning. Servant has a meaning. So I am the civil servant. So I need to know what is the rights of a civil servant and what is the obligation of a civil servant. So, and then I learned that there were PBs. But I want to get to know what's a PB. So I asked them, okay, good. How can I get my hand on the PBs? It was one thing. But I fought my case and I get my hand on the PBs and I started to read the PBs. So when the politicians were talking about their grievances and making hot air and blaming Curacao, Curacao was carrying out the law to the letter in the division according. Het was Curacao kreeg een aantal percentage en dan had een breakdown. En de rest van de percentage kwam weer Curaçao, then it was share up again in 6. So it was Curaçao alleenstaande en dan 6. That's why Aruba walk out and leave. But had Aruba fought, make it, you see, if they used to make each other aware. If I don't know, I think I should pinch you. And you pinch the next one. And then the next one pinch the next one. And we sit down and say, hey, listen, let's peel this onion layer by layer. And if we find a rotten one in between, the rotten layer, then that's the layer we're going to sit on. But no, they didn't do that way. Everybody wants the ego, and everybody scatter, and everybody fly. So Aruba excel, and I left Sir Martin behind. So Sir Martin came in the grandeur with Curaçao at the same time, and Sir Martin started to show her claws. Forgetting he had Sabre and Stacia in the year behind. But Sabre and Stacia used to get the dregs from Sir Martin too, because it used to have to go, whatever coming to the Bovemenden, had to go to St. Martin. And then St. Martin going to send over what they want to Stacia and what they want to Sabre. So it was the SSS Island, even in the unionism. And when everything was via. So if you have a via, you have an in-between, and next in-between, and next in-between. When it reach to you, what you don't get? You get a mustard seed. And that is one of the words I use, personally I use. And that's where I start to get the backlash from Stacia. Personally, as an Amtanar, I use, but the mustard seed is small. But why we have to get a mustard seed? Why we looking at the mustard seed? Who decided to give us a mustard seed? And that's the problem we had. That's why we have the division up to date. They cannot come together and say, listen, this is the problem.
See.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Nou, eigenlijk, helaas, I think maybe to conclude, I just want to know, what do you think should have been or should be, or what should have happened? Was it possible to today still have the Netherlands Antilles, or how should we have arranged our constellation, if I can call it like that?
Okay, I'm gonna put it this way. Stacia at that time voted to remain
True.
in the Netherlands until
So.
because what I just explained there
Yeah.
is brought the politicians in Stacia
Yeah.
to think, because we had a union, we had the clergies, we had the different church groups, and everybody used to give their opinion. So it wasn't, and the place is a small place, so you didn't have to go too far to let your voice be heard. Because when one start to whisper and pinch one another, it start to move around like a domino effect. That's the reason why Stacia came to the opinion, we're gonna remain in the sentence because it can work.
So, but it can work, and
it can work.
We remain with the mustard seed, or we?
No. It could have worked, and the idea behind that was to see if they could get the other islands come along.
See.
Because I can remember Poirier, the Funtu Poirier, he was pushing for a reform, Netherlands Antilles.
Yeah.
But today, I am very amazed to learn that the way they are looking at things now is for a joint venture in aspects of the islands. So it's what we had because it is lost. Now we realize the value and the power we had then compared to now.
Yeah.
So now it is being looked at now. Hey, you can join forces together and form a block, but the block is splintered.
Yeah.
Because for medical, they're working at it. Postal services, there's no postal service between the islands. Direct. I cannot post something to my son. My son can't post something to me. Before that, we used to shop in Curacao. They had, before, in the 60s and early 70s, they had the Antillia sea vessel running between the islands.
Oh.
And the Windmill Islands used to shop in Curacao. Everything you needed, you gotta get from Curacao. If you want a fridge, you buy it in Curacao. You want a whatever you want. You want bedroom set, you want furnitures, whatever you want, you bought in food. Dry food was bought in Curacao by the boxes. So the economy of Curacao was propelled around the 6 islands. That's the reason why the Netherlands and Antilles could have been so powerful. Because now the economy has been splintered. That's why St. Martin is making a fuss. Because now Sabre and Stacia St. Martin, they're shopping online. Where the dollar going? Out. If that economy had remained, the Antilles could have been a force to be reckoned with. The European Union, the European countries form a union. Okay, we had Brexit. We see what happened after Brexit. But the CARICOM countries, they form it and they're spreading their wings.
Yeah.
Everybody are coming together and forming a bloc. What happened to the Netherlands Antilles? What happened to the past Netherlands Antilles and the islands? When you are splintered, it's a broken link, you weaken your power. And if that had remained, we could have been a force to reckon with. Each island on its own strength. Stacia, agriculture. Sabre, also agriculture, because Sabre used to plant Irish potatoes, Tanya, all that. Strawberries.
Really?
Listen, the yellow golden apple.
Yeah.
Of course, you have trees in Sabre.
Oh.
So what I'm saying is, you had each island have its own strength. You assess that. You build on that. Stacia used to be the breadbasket of the Netherlands and there's the Antilles used to bring down yam and potato, peanuts to Curacao, Bonaire, and Aruba.
Yeah.
My father was a farmer, and I know we used to have to bag those potatoes. And they used to sew them up with a big needle. I never seen a needle so big in my life. The eye of the needle is so big that I used to tell my mother, a camel can go through that, mom. As a child. So, it's what I'm saying is the strength of the islands were not really taken seriously, and they did not really pay and really accumulate and calculate the value of each island.
Assessment again.
Fine. So that's the reason why now we are in this turmoil now. Now the Dutch is trying to revive agriculture in Stacia because Stacia used to be the breadbasket of the Netherlands Antilles. Likewise, we're doing in Sabre. St. Martin now is screaming agriculture. You follow? We used to ship lobsters to St. Martin because all the hotels in St. Martin used to get lobsters from Stacia. We had the blue back crab from the quill. Restaurants in St. Martin used to order the crabs from Stacia. For the blue back crab menu. It's a delicacy. It used to be in St. Martin, stuffed crab back from Stacia. That's what I'm saying. Curacao has its strength. St. Martin has its strength. Stacia, Sabre, Bunya likewise. And you pool that together. And we would have been able to survive.
Yeah.
I got this. This would be my last point to add to this before we finish, and then I would give y'all to the word to like slot the word if you would want. But there's even a weirder raak vlog with that too, like as well. So my ancestry through my mom is from St. Kitts and Nevis, right? Outside of the Antilles, or outside of the Sable Statia, ABC Islands, kind of dynamic. Statia and St. Kitts have a very close bond. There's Statia, St. Kitts, and Nevis. I'm gonna say it right? There's a very close bond. There's a lot of roots that you can trace in Statia to St. Kitts and back and forth and whatnot, right? Now imagine this: that Statia was and is a breadbasket for a lot of things, right? St. Kitts, good or bad, but they really got their agriculture really right, especially like in the 90s as well, right? There's a lot of back and forth there. Now, there was a point in time when there was a ferry that was running between St. Kitts and Statia, where while agriculture was there, but it was still kind of developing, as it were. Like you had prosperity in St. Kitts, but it was for like a select few, right? But the majority of the island was still kind of on the rise and stuff, right? Imagine this one. St. Kitts used to jump on a boat, like Kittians used to jump on a boat, come by us
To shop.
to shop. Imagine coming to Statia to shop.
To shop.
Yeah.
Imagine coming to Statia because we had that direct link to St. Martin, and through St. Martin we had that direct link to Miami. So Fruit Loops, as jokey as it may sound, we had that where they might not have.
Yeah.
We had stoves and fridges where they might not have had access to it. Now imagine that idea writ large. When Statia, with the backing of the Antilles, is a pipeline to be able to deal and trade with St. Kitts, and because St. Kitts' agriculture is so strong, there's trade available so that we can get things cheaper, or you can make a trade deal or whatever. You can get a lot of agricultural goods that can be funneled to the other islands as well, where you don't need to get things from Europe, you don't need to get things from the States, and you build on those relationships even more. And imagine this now. St. Kitts as a part of CARICOM, St. Kitts and Nevis as a part of CARICOM, all of a sudden, because we're doing well with one of their partners, more doors will open up as well. That, like, if we're dreaming, let's dream. You know what I mean? Like, that is what breaks my heart of what could have been. That is what breaks my heart of like, oh, this could have, and this happened in my time. This wasn't like 1964, whatever. In 1999, St. Kitts was coming across by us
To shop.
to and leave us bare. They were like not in a bad way,
Every month.
but they were like locusts, man. Once they came in,
Everything
gone.
Everything.
It was surreal. It was and that combined with cultural exchange, because when we had like a station day, we used to bring cross like the Defense Force band and different kind of performers and whatnot. And so when they got their Juve mom on, and literally like Boxing Day, all of us were not in bed, we're on a boat going to St. Kitts to play mass with them. Really and truly.
Yeah.
So it boggles the mind of what could have happened. And to just say, oh, but that's the way it is, or oh, you know, like we can't really get it together, or oh, I know that my mother is an optimist, and I am in that way, that what could have been. And for me, it's just, that's where the heart breaks, because what could have been, you can see it in front of you, and this could have worked, man.
Yeah.
This could have worked, you know? So that's my last point. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, to really conclude now, I would like to know, what do you think is the way forward?
The way forward is still assessment.
Yeah.
One alinea, mom. One alinea.
I still think on that, the assessment. And if everybody do their homework based on assessing the strengths, the liabilities, assets, liabilities, and the strength, values, we can make it.
Okay.
We will make it. There's still hope. There's still hope.
There's still hope.
All right.
There you go.
Wow.
Whew. This was a good one, wasn't it?
I think this conversation ain't done, but we are done.
We are done.
We're gonna have to have moms back.
Yeah.
Sometime.
Hey, whenever does she feel like, and if she here, especially trying to get her to come down here and all that type of thing. But anyway, no, but I'm saying though, we will always think about hope. We will always think about optimism when it comes to the show. You and I, even though we talk a lot of shit or whatnot and so, but we'll always look towards the future and think van, hey, dit kan wel beter en dat kunnen we wel doen.
Yeah.
And thanks you guys for hanging with us the whole season. It was a season of doom and gloom, but this was also a good end as well.
Stay. Oh yeah, this is the season finale.
Yeah.
I guess we'll be back next season.
Yeah, we will be back.
It won't be the season of doom and gloom.
Nah. We will have unicorns and rainbows
it's the season of hope.
And like a bunch of cookies and whatnot. But this is a good way.
No cookies. No cookies. It's okay.
Gluten free.
Yeah, rice waffles. Rice crackers.
Crackers. Hey, and so far so good. God bless that for all the islands and all the brothers and sisters. So far so good. No weirdness when it comes to the hurricane season. We're not out of the woods yet, but you know, like, let's hope and pray that everything.
Good.
Yeah, man. And guys,
The Lord is our shepherd, and He takes care of His children.
There you go.
There's hope. There's hope. There's hope.
All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with us all season. Thank you so much to Annabay Rum. Thank you for all our illustrious guests. And Marlo, thank you.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you to the fans once again. Thank you for sticking with us. Yo, this was a good season too. This was a solid season. Give us a minute. We're going to take a little while, even though it took a while in between of the season finales. Give us a minute. We're going to get back, and we're not going to take as long a break, I think, as we did the last time, but we do need to recharge ourselves, talk about it, see what went good, went bad, and feel free to comment, guys, if you want to see what
and you can still like, subscribe, share. Just share away.
Oh yeah, please do that. But guys, I've been Marlo Brown.
I'm still Denise Fiber.
We were, we are, we shall always be
the Drunken Monks.
Peace.